Congratulations. Look, you're through to the quarterfinals, clean sheet, really blistering performance. Look, you look like you were in control from start to finish. Is that how it felt to you?
Yeah, I think the start obviously helps a lot, but I think we were patient in the beginning, and obviously when we scored the 2 goals, it gives us a little bit of a cover, knowing that they need to come a little bit more. But I think we controlled the game, and we had a few chances also in the second half. And I think the second half was a little bit less, but I think understandable with all the games we played, with a 4-0 aggregate, that it was a little bit less.
You were on the score sheet today, and this is a team that, has actually gone a lot of the season without, a central striker focal point. How does that all work for you guys as a team? How do you make it work?
Well, I don't know. I think obviously we try to make the movements into the box when we arrive up front, and it's different plays in different areas. So I think sometimes it's difficult, but I think even when Gabi or Koen plays, it's a little bit similar. Obviously, they're more named as a striker, but they do the same job. So if they're there or not, we try to maintain a good shape and come in good positions.
11 and a half hours now in the Champions League without conceding, and that's really, really impressive. How important is that side to City's game this season in all competitions?
Well, I think it's always important when you're stable as a defence and as a team. Obviously, it gives the whole team confidence, and it's really nice for Eddie and for the defenders. They are there to try and stop the goal, and I think the guys up front and in the middle try to stay in shape to help them whenever we can, and it's easier when we don't concede for us.
It's always easier when you don't concede, there's no question about that. Kevin De Bruyne, another outstanding display, as we've learned to expect.
Yeah, it's just normal procedures for him. I mean, listen, since he come back from injury, he's probably hadn't had the rhythm that he had before he got injured, but he looked today that he got straight back into the groove. I mean, the goal off his left foot without a touch to set it, first time, right in the top corner. I mean, he's a fabulous player.
He's one of the best in the world, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. His consistency has been remarkable since he's been at the club, and as I said, his contribution, goals, assists, you're just running out of things to say.
I suppose if it wasn't for the injury, he's been out a little while, he would have been right up there as well, probably for Player of the Year. Still might be, who knows?
Yeah,
by the time it's finished.
I think if he has a strong contribution towards the end of the season, he's definitely in the conversation.
What's his best position?
I think he just finds space. He can play anywhere. He can, and I think he works even better now with Bernardo Silva and Gundogan and Phil. They're all kind of on that. Riyad Mahrez on that same wavelength mentally. They just feel the game so well, and they all just rotate the positions. I think it makes it impossible to mark. I think if they were playing behind me and I was in front, we'd probably be arguing all the time about who had to pick up who, because it'd always be somebody different.
Well, what's the great thing about this City team is they don't play in any conventional positions. You normally got a striker, number 9, and 2 wide players at the moment. A lot of teams play.
Interesting on that tactical.
Showing off there, weren't you?
Well, a little bit.
The language. You played in Spain or something?
I might have done a long time ago, before you were born, probably. But it's interesting on the tactical side of it, how some players can play in that position and some players can't. I've always wondered where he perhaps got that idea and why.
Yeah, and it's interesting. He says there's certain players that can and can't play in there, and he picks them accordingly. It's like Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker, even today, once we were all saying, like, can he play in there? No. He got one ball in the middle of the pitch, lost the ball, and obviously he plays in particular positions for a certain reason. So, but he's obviously identified players when he recruits them and says they're able to play that role and carry out what I want. So, I mean, when he does that, it's something new in our league. He's done it in Germany, but it's new here, and teams aren't being able to deal with it.
Well, there's not many new things in football. It's hard to invent them. They've all been around. I suppose you can invent things a little bit differently because of the playing surfaces in the modern game. In my time, there's no way you could get away with playing out in your own box from the back, because it would just bobble and you'd lose it. You have no chance. But it is interesting to see how the game does evolve.
Oh, of course, yeah, and it is unique to see. And there's a lot of teams that are trying to do it that possibly shouldn't, and players that shouldn't be doing it. But when you get it right, it's epic to watch, and it's a joy.
I think it's safe to say continue their quadruple quest, being 2-0 up in this leg, going 4-0 overall. And Two absolutely sumptuous goals in different ways, but top quality stuff.
Loads to admire about both. Very different, but the quality was for all to see. The beautiful way in which Foden takes the ball on the first one before he supplies the assist. And it's just the rhythm of the game. They controlled the whole rhythm. Every part of the game, they just looked in supreme control. Beautiful to watch.
I had a little bit of sympathy for Borussia Monchengladbach's players. It must be so hard playing against this side when you're just clearly not at that level.
Yeah, from a defensive point of view, having no one to mark and then just be in space and then seeing runners coming at you from all angles, it must be intimidating to mark and pick up, and obviously they're not being able to stop it.
Yeah, let's start with the De Bruyne goal. You get the pleasure of talking us through this one. Owen, stunning strike.
Well, we've been talking about it, and just, you know, positions they're picking up. You know, see De Bruyne as almost as the false nine there, and speaking about Mahrez and his touch, and just the time, the patience that they have. You know, they're just waiting for the moment where they go. Then Mahrez spins there, and then De Bruyne is at the edge of the box. No pressure on the ball. It's a beauty just to watch everything about it. It's just, as Rhys said, in complete control at all times, and they're clinical. They get in here, bang, it's in the back of the net.
From a defensive point of view, though, like they're not doing much wrong there. They're all in positions. Maybe one of the players can come out a little bit quicker, but even there, if I'm a defender behind it, I'm saying on his weak foot, coming across him first time without setting himself, I have to let him have a shot.
Sometimes, I suppose, as a defensive unit, you just have to put your hands up and go, great goal.
That's one of the
moments.
You can do.
Yeah. That was, and the second one, that was a great move from the back. I think it was John Stones nipped it into Foden, and that turn.
Yeah, there's a lot of elements that you wouldn't necessarily encourage, like straight balls into midfield, but a great turn, and then he runs forward, and the pass there, he knows where he is. He knows where to play the ball, and again, a ridiculous first touch, but.
I think the turn, we were talking before about playing for England and where would Foden play if he was going to fit in. He's shown you today he can play in that deeper position centrally, because the way he receives the ball and turns, that's what you want in national level, especially in this top level, to turn a semi-conservative position into an attacking position and a goal opportunity. This touch, guys.
Gundogan, honestly,
would you coach to take a touch like that, or let it come across your body?
But it's just feeling. That's the part. I think Pep gives them ideas, and then they got to decide. But Foden, Gundogan, just the run and the touch. And the problem is they're all, because they don't have a centre forward and they're coming from all over, as Jolien said, you can't pick. They're hard to pick up.
Yeah. It's great to watch, though, isn't it? And it's great to watch the versatility and the different ways that they play.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you've got so many options and so much fluidity, it's new. A lot of the patterns and styles, it's new to watch, and it's exciting to see.
Yeah.